Are you overwhelmed with the thought of creating an estate plan and have no idea where to start? Then I'm glad that you're watching this video. My name is Emily Napier and I'm the owner and founder of the Napier Law Firm. We help individuals and families put plans in place that give them peace of mind and that also help their loved ones avoid court and conflict. Now, I am in my family Lego room. We love Legos, if you can't tell, and I thought that this would be a fun kind of analogy or way to describe the process of getting started with your estate plan. So I believe that creating your estate plan and getting a brand new Lego set are similar, and hang in there. So if you get a brand new Lego set, maybe it's gifted to you, maybe you buy it, it's exciting. This is the Ferrari Lego box. Like, yes, this is great. It's got over 3,000 pieces. Then I get home and I open up the box and I find that there are 2 instruction books. So 2 books that I have to go through and all these steps that I have to complete in order to assemble the Ferrari. And as you can tell, we're not quite there yet, but we're making progress. Getting an estate plan, while it might not have the same level of excitement as getting this box of brand new Legos, when you do finally make that decision, I've got a fellow estate planning attorney and she says to adult today, so when you do finally make that decision of, yes, I'm gonna do this, it's thrilling in a way. You're like, all right, I finally have decided that I'm gonna take the steps, I'm gonna go through this process. And then reality and kind of fear creeps in of what all is this going to involve? How long is this going to take? How many decisions am I going to have to make, and how many steps are there going to be? But the thing is we don't know when something's going to happen. We can't predict the future. And so by putting it off and saying, you know what, I just don't have time to do this right now, or this process is just too overwhelming to even try to sift through, you're leaving yourself at risk in the event that you become incapacitated. And you're also leaving your loved ones to possibly have to deal with a mess, to have to go through probate, which could take over a year, and your assets would be frozen during that time period. Or if you have minor children, you're even potentially leaving them in the hands of someone who you wouldn't want to be their guardians stepping in to fulfill that role. So I wanted to give you some tips on steps you could take, things that you could do right now to get started with your estate plan. So the first thing is you want to round up, create a list of all of your assets. So if you own a house, if you have different bank accounts, if you have life insurance, if you've got retirement accounts, you want to create a spreadsheet and write all of those things down. Bonus points if you want to write who you currently have listed as beneficiaries, create a column for that as well. When we get started, so one of our first steps with clients is we do a family wealth planning session. And that's one of the pieces of information we get them to send over to us. So if you go ahead and gather that, that's going ahead and taking care of one big thing. The other thing that you'll realize is it might take you some time, and that's okay. You might realize, oh, I forgot about this retirement account, or I worked at this company a while back, I need to reach out to the HR department. You know, maybe you start going through beneficiaries and you realize you have an ex-spouse still listed, or maybe you have one of your parents listed because you created that account before you got married, before you had kids. So that is the first step, is just to start gathering that information. Now, the second thing is you can start thinking of who you want to name for key roles. There are different decisions that you're gonna have to make, and the benefit of working with an estate planning attorney is we don't expect you to come to us with a list of, all right, here's all my wishes, here's everyone that I want to serve in different roles. I'm just giving you some things that you can start thinking about in terms of this process. So some of the key roles that you're going to need to select an agent for are things such as your healthcare agent. So who do you want to make healthcare decisions on your behalf in the event of incapacity? Now, you will give them some guidance if you create a healthcare directive in Georgia, so on what your wishes are, but who do you want to be fulfilling those, or to be talking with doctors, acting on your behalf? The other is for your power of attorney. So you think that person is mainly in charge of finances on your behalf, and if you become incapacitated. So who would you want to step in and take care of things such as paying bills during that time period, or maybe they need to turn off different memberships or help with taxes during that time period? Who do you want to step into that role? Now, the third thing that you can start thinking of is if you have minor children, who do you want to name as guardians? And you don't want to only consider long-term guardians. You want to make sure that you're also taking into account who would be short-term guardians. Those are people, neighbors, friends that can get to your kids right away away if there's an emergency until your long-term guardians can arrive. And that way your kids don't potentially get taken into child protective services in that gap period. So those are the 3 steps that you can take now to get started with your journey. Again, if I get this Lego kit and I pull out these instruction books and I flip through these pages and see all of these pieces, it's really overwhelming. But if I go to page 1 in this first book, it's going to give me just a few things that I need to take care of. So a few things that I'm going to start to assemble first. And so what I gave you today with those steps those are some things that you can start to do now to start getting the wheels in motion for creating your estate plan. If this seems pretty straightforward, maybe you sit down with your spouse or maybe you sit down with your partner and you start talking through who you would like to serve key roles. One thing that might happen, and I want you to know that I would say it happens to a lot of people, so don't be overwhelmed, is that you might kind of hit this point where you think someone should serve a key role and they think someone else. And so you sit there and you're trying to talk through it and you go, you know what, we can't agree, we just aren't gonna worry about this right now. What I want you to do instead is, by working with an estate planning attorney, one thing that I do with clients is I can help ask questions and help maybe open your eyes or help get the conversation going to where you both can come to an agreement on who is the best person to fit that role right now. You want to be updating your documents really every 5 years at a minimum. So again, this isn't the person that has to serve forever. It's just based on the facts, based on scenarios, life phases right now, who would be the best person to serve for these roles. Because if you don't name someone, a judge is going to be that person making the decision for you. In a lot of scenarios, who they're going to decide probably wouldn't be who you want, because they're only able to look at black and white things, right? They don't know different dynamics, and we don't have your wishes recorded because you didn't get that recorded before something happened. So again, 3 key steps. Start rounding up your assets, start thinking of who you want to name as agents, and then start thinking, if you have minor kids, who you want to name and who you would want to serve as guardians. Now, if you would like to take it a step further and actually go ahead and start creating your estate plan, or if you need to update your estate plan, you'll see a link in the description where you can schedule a call, and I would love to chat with you about what would be the best fit for giving you and your loved ones the protection that you want. I hope that this video was helpful and that you have a great rest of your day.